Creative Freedom Plan, a podcast and membership hosted by yours truly, Michael Emily Schuster. I'm here to empower creatives like you with the training you need to become full-time, financially free online entrepreneurs. On this podcast, I'm sharing all of my best strategies, wisdom, and mindset shifts that will allow you to self-actualize as a creative, build the business of your dreams, and become truly free. Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of the podcast. This is such an exciting moment for me, and I can't thank you enough for tuning in and going on this journey of creative entrepreneurship with me. It's going to be such an exciting and wild ride. I'm so excited to get started. I have so many incredible topics and trainings in mind for you to just make your life easier as a creative entrepreneur and really give you the clarity that you need to get everything done, to get you to that point where it's like, yes, I have turned my purpose and my passion into a thriving online business that gets to support me in living the lifestyle of my dreams, because that is such an incredible moment. I've had it. I know other people have had it. I know you're here because that's what you're looking for. And if that's what you're looking for, that's exactly what you're meant for. But there is a lot of milestones, 3 major ones that we will be going into today that need to happen along the way in order to get you to where you want to be. So that is the intention behind episode number 1. I want to illustrate the entire roadmap of creative entrepreneurship, starting from zero experience, taking you all the way to that beautiful moment where your earnings fully surpass whatever your expenditures are, completely replacing any income that you might have been earning from a 9-to-5 or a side hustle, getting you to the point where you are finally a full-time, financially free, creative entrepreneur. So those 3 milestones are going to look like sharing value consistently through a signature piece of regular content. Regular can be weekly, monthly, daily, however you like to define it. But you do need a signature piece of content to establish yourself and your content in a way that others can come to rely on you and look to you for their entertainment, their education, their inspiration, or any kind of guidance that you might be here to provide. Step number 2, or the second milestone that you must accomplish in this journey, is monetization. And the monetization strategy that I teach is through Patreon, an exclusive online membership where you build a community around the topic of your choosing, the topic of your signature piece of content. And you really lead the way for other people within your niche to come together, to get to know one another and other people who have similar values, similar mindsets, similar heart sets and desires and goals, so that they can collaborate with one another and they can collaborate with you and get to know you in an even deeper and more personal way. So it's really profound what you can build out through an exclusive membership and through building relationships with the kind of people who you would be best friends with in real life. But thanks to the internet, we get to become internet besties with the people inside of our exclusive communities. The third milestone is going to be mastering marketing and communication to spread the word and share your story, share your message in the most compelling way possible so that you're able to attract the right people into your world. So if you think about it like a funnel, your marketing, your messaging is going to reach the broadest of audiences on platforms like Instagram and Facebook, where people are there for a good time, but they're not there for a long time. And you're getting them familiar with what you're here to do and what you're here to share. And if they really like what you have to say through your marketing and your messaging, then they have the option to go and watch your signature piece of content, which is typically going to be more long form content like you would see on podcasting platforms or YouTube, for example, where people really get to know you a lot better through that long form kind of content, and they get even greater value from what you're here to share, what you're here to talk about, or the story that you're telling. And finally, from that long form piece of signature content, you invite people into your exclusive Patreon community, where it's that tight-knit group of people who can't get enough of what you're here to share, what you're here to talk about. They want to binge all of your content. They want to get to know you, the creator behind the art form, and they're ready to pay money to have access to additional content or early release content of your signature piece, or they want to hop on live chats or Zoom calls or whatever it is that you decide to offer. They're here for it, and they cannot wait to be part of that community with you. So that is the broad overview of the milestones that need to be achieved in this creative entrepreneurship journey. Now, it's not a 1, 2, 3, as soon as you do it, then boom, you're golden, you're good to go. It's a journey. And there are going to be ups and downs along the way. There is going to be doubt. There's going to be fears. There's going to be hesitations that you get to encounter. And we're going to talk about all of that and normalize some of what you may be experiencing or what you might get to look forward to in the journey. But these are the 3 big pieces that need to come into place in order for your online business to truly thrive and reach the people that it's meant to reach. So, step number 1, I love starting with this signature piece of online content because it's what you get to be known for. And committing to this consistency is one of the most important things that you will do in this journey. Becoming disciplined in your artwork is a beautiful thing. A lot of artists are very flowy. We don't like a lot of rules. We like to break the rules. We like to toe the line to find out, what happens when we do break the rules. We don't do well with a ton of structure imposed by others because we're independent. We're artists. We're free thinkers. We think outside the box. We like to do things differently. We like to live creatively. We're kind of the black sheep of the family, of our friend groups, and of the world at large. And that's not a bad thing because we need creative ideas. We need an abundance of new ideas and fresh ways of thinking about things and doing things in order to improve the traditions that we currently have. I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but I want to bring this back to self-discipline because what I have found to be true in the creative online journey of entrepreneurship is that when you impose discipline and structure upon yourself, that is when your art form, your creativity, your content truly begins to flourish and improve. So when you commit to putting something out there every single week, no matter what, even if it's nowhere near perfect, even if it's not something that you're even proud of or stoked about, you might even be embarrassed about some of the things that you publish. But the beauty and the growth comes from committing to this consistent schedule. Let's call it a weekly schedule, for example, because it kind of allows you to clear the slate. So you give yourself a week to create this piece of signature content and you put it out there at the end of a week, no matter what. You don't give yourself endless amounts of time to agonize over it, to want to perfect it, to re-record, or whatever you're inclined to do. If it's a video, you might want to record take after take after take after take because you're not in love with anything that you happen to be recording. If you're putting a piece of writing out there, you might want to edit and rewrite and edit and rewrite until it's something that you can actually be proud of. But that takes time. And the important thing is to put it out there and just be done with it, whether or not it's perfect, so that you can move on to the next and learn from those past pieces. Great art is never perfect. It's simply done. You just have to commit to reaching that point where you say, enough is enough. This is the best that I've got this week. I'll do better next week. And the next week after that, I'll do even better. And the week after that, I'll do even better. And you get to learn something really valuable from these experiences of putting something out there on the internet for the world to see that you're not really stoked about, or maybe you're not even proud of, or perhaps you're even a little bit embarrassed by. Been there. You get to learn about your process, and your process is unique to you. And this is what is so important to refine and enhance every step of the way, because I can give you strategies, I can give you methodologies, I can even give you processes, but what you're going to find through doing the work, it's the only way you're going to come to the realization is by actually doing the work. You're going to be able to realize what works for you and your unique way of doing this work. So we commit to a consistent schedule of putting out valuable content. Now, what does valuable content mean? Well, if you think about every single piece of content that you have ever consumed on the internet and enjoyed or got value from, something that captured your attention and, forced you to watch till the end, is because there is something in there that was compelling and valuable to you. So what is it? What is it that makes content valuable and, let's face it, kind of addicting? It's because it's either entertaining, it's either educational, or it's inspiring. Now, we can talk all day long about how the apps are designed to be addictive, but it's the content itself that captures our attention, not the apps. The apps simply house the content that does capture our attention. And everybody's attention is a little bit different. Everybody's interests are a little bit different. But you will find, as you go scrolling on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you like to get your content from, start watching. Start looking at the kind of content that's capturing your interest. Is it entertaining? Is it educational? Is it inspirational? Is it some combination of all three? We love those ones. And what is it that's getting all of your time and attention? You'll notice that all of the content that's valuable falls into those three categories. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper into each of those different categories and how you can learn to make that kind of content for yourself. Entertaining content. Let's start there. What makes an entertainer? An entertainer is someone that allows the viewer, the audience member, to feel a certain kind of way. Something is entertaining when it taps into our emotional resonance, and we love our emotional resonance being tapped into. It can make us feel excited, it can make us feel happy, it can make us feel relaxed, it can make us feel sad, it can make us feel thought-provoked, it can make us feel angry, it can make us feel triggered. But ultimately, entertaining content is going to tap into our emotional resonance. And how do entertainers do this? They do it through authenticity. They do it through sharing their story through any kind of medium, whether that's music or comedy or podcasting. But they do it through being their authentic, honest, true selves and sharing their experiences with us. Nothing captivates quite like real, honest, vulnerable authenticity. And we love coming across authentic content because it invites us into an even more authentic experience for ourselves. It inspires us to be more authentic in our own lives. So whether you're a musician, whether you're a writer, whether you're an educator, a podcaster, a storyteller, a comedian, however you identify as a creative, you will be entertaining, you will be captivating when you tap into your own authenticity. Comedy, for example, is very real. It's the comedian's very real reaction to a situation or to something that they have found humor in. And it takes a lot of guts to say those kind of off-color, triggering remarks that everybody finds so funny. So there's bravery there in that authenticity and simply being real. It takes a tremendous amount of bravery to be vulnerable. There was a time in my life when I was growing up and I witnessed my older sister getting picked on and made fun of, and she was the kind of person, still is to some degree, who wears her heart on her sleeve. Her emotions were, close to the surface. You knew what she was thinking, what she was feeling at any given moment. And if her feelings got hurt, the tears were quick to flow. And when I saw her get picked on for this, in my young mind, it kind of created this association of vulnerability being akin to weakness. But as we've grown older and she's maintained that openness and that honesty and the truth behind her real felt emotions, and she shares those with others, I've been able to see that that's actually a strength. And though she paid dearly for it in elementary school and middle school when she was picked on by the peers, because, children are relentless and kind of brutal sometimes. We all can be that way, especially as we're growing up, especially as we're kids. There was a quiet strength that she always possessed because she was never out of alignment with herself. And she was always true in expressing what she felt and what she thought. And she is to this day. And it was a huge wake-up call for me, and realizing that in putting up walls as a kid that spared me from the same kind of teasing and taunting and getting picked on and name calling, I had prevented myself from experiencing any of the benefits that come with vulnerability, with the harsh reality of getting hurt and getting picked on. See, in order to form real relationships, friendships, romantic partnerships, you have to pull down your walls. You have to allow people to see and know who you truly are. You have to make yourself vulnerable in some ways. And this is a strength that my sister possessed and I did not. Because I was so committed to protecting myself from getting picked on, I struggled to form deep, lasting friendships until I learned this lesson that vulnerability is not weakness. It's actually strength. Authenticity is one of the most important characteristics and values that you can hold. And it's absolutely the same for online content. So we relate to the creators who are honest with us, who are true to themselves, not the ones who are putting on a show or putting on a front or think they need to be absolutely perfect in everything that they do. We don't relate to perfection. We can't connect when someone has their walls up and they don't have any vulnerabilities or true authenticity. That's what it requires to have that emotional resonance with another human being. And this is at the root of truly entertaining and compelling content. Now let's talk a little bit about educational content, which sounds a little dry when I just say the words educational content. So let's just preface this with bringing some entertainment to to the educational content that we're sharing. Some authenticity, some realness, some vulnerability in order to give it that compelling factor. But educational content in its most valuable form is coming from experience-earned wisdom. And everybody knows something. You know so many things. You've gained so much wisdom from simply being alive and overcoming any of the hardships and challenges that life has put in your path. And how you make truly great educational content is by living your life through the lens of, what did I learn today? What lesson did life have to offer me today? What am I being asked to learn? What am I being asked to overcome? And I know when you look back at your life, you can think on some incredible lessons who have shaped you into the person that you are today. And this is the kind of education, this is the kind of wisdom that's really valuable for other people. And as you meet other people, as you talk to other people, even your friends and family, when you interact with them through this lens of everybody knows something, everybody has a piece of the puzzle, a golden nugget to this human experience, and they're willing to share it with me, if I'm willing to listen and give them my time and attention, and how precious is that? People are so ready to teach you and tell you everything that they know, because it feels so good to have that attention and that care and that consideration from another human being. And this is a brilliant way to create and share content, talking to other people and hearing their stories and broadcasting their wisdom for everyone to hear and learn from. These are the interview style podcasts and videos where the creator themselves is shining a spotlight on others, but they're sharing valuable lessons, they're entertaining, they're educating, and they're inspiring by giving other people the platform and the spotlight that they need in order to be heard, seen, and understood. Now, that's an example of educating content. Another example of educating content is what I'm doing right here, right now, sharing my experience in the creative entrepreneurship industry so that you can learn from all of the lessons that I got to learn the hard way from being in the trenches and doing it. Not to say that that's going to prevent you from learning your own lessons the hard way along the way. That's always going to be the case. But by sharing my knowledge and by implementing the wisdom that I've learned from other coaches, from other creators, we're able to speed things up a little bit. We're able to implement lessons rather than having to take the time to learn the lesson to implement once we've learned how to do better. We can learn to do better right off the bat and get a little bit of a head start on the journey that we wouldn't have otherwise without these wise mentors and teachers in our corner. And that's what makes educational content so valuable. It never replaces the experience-earned wisdom that you are going to harvest your own through your own life's experience, but you need both. And it's so valuable to learn from other people. It's so valuable for societies and cultures and governments to look at the past and learn from lessons of the past, which it seems like we're fairly reluctant to do as history seems to repeat itself over and over and over again. But the lessons are always there if we're willing to go looking for them. So that's educational content, experience-earned wisdom. Anybody can regurgitate something that they've read, that they've seen, or that they've heard from somebody else, but truly valuable educational content is going to come from that experience. It's going to have a story attached to the lesson that allows people to really relate to and apply to their own lives. And finally, we have inspirational content, which can technically fall into the entertaining category, but I like to highlight it all on its own because it's one of my favorite forms of content. I think it's one of the most important because inspirational content is accessed through bravery, through courage. So we get inspired by other creators, through other trailblazers who have done or are doing the kinds of things that we also want to do. And they're doing it in such a way, they're demonstrating in such a way that it makes us feel like it's possible for us to do it too. Because of their authenticity, because of their vulnerability, because they're willing to go in there and say, I'm scared as hell to be here doing this thing, but I want to do it. So I'm never going to let fear stop me or get in the way of my dreams and my goals. Inspirational content opens up a whole new world of possibility and potential that we might not have otherwise accessed if we hadn't seen these inspiring creators and trailblazers going where we hardly dared to dream was possible. I know it's true for me, as I dreamt of a full-time international travel kind of lifestyle, as I dreamed of finding a way to support myself as I climbed mountains and lived in a van and traveled around reading great books and possibly even writing one of my own. This was my dream. At the age of 22, as I was graduating college, I had a calling to completely avoid the 9-to-5, to forgo the security that was going to come from a steady paycheck. I was shopping for vans on Craigslist every single night. I was obsessed with this dream and this vision that I had for myself because of the people who I saw on YouTube who were doing it and who were loving it and who were very real and open about the experience, and made me believe that it was possible for me to do it as well. Now, things changed, doors open up. I ended up getting on a sailboat and traveling by sailboat instead of by van. But ultimately, the calling that I had to travel and live on my own terms and learn how to support myself along the way was fulfilled. And so I'm here to tell you that your dream is not unrealistic. It's important. It's necessary. And you have this calling for a reason. It's because whatever you're here to share, you're meant to share. And you're going to change the lives of other people by sharing your message, by creating your content. And by creating the life that you envision for yourself, you're going to pave the way for other people to create the lives that they envision for themselves. And it's an incredible, beautiful ripple effect that we get to create as creative entrepreneurs. And I just get so excited talking about this and teaching on this because I envision an entire digital revolution, a global revolution where our generation really changes everything for those who are meant to come after us. We learn to self-actualize. We learn to fulfill all of our basic needs so that we're able to find fulfillment in purpose and passion and creativity. In later episodes, I will talk about my foundation for self-actualization through the body, mind, heart, and soul framework that I was inspired with. How can I even say that I came up with this? It just kind of downloaded for me. And it's something that I've been applying to my own life for 9 years now. And it took me from a place of utter desolation and depression to more happy, fulfilled, and living on purpose than I ever could have dreamed was possible. So this is what I envision for you, for the creative entrepreneurship revolution as it's happening, as it's coming right now. We're living in the most exciting of times. But okay, let's stay focused on the roadmap. So we've talked about entertaining, educational, and inspiring content. This is the root of the valuable content that you will share on a consistent basis. So in future episodes, we will get into more of the structure and the strategy for how you can plan that out, how you can create that valuable content on a consistent basis, certain frameworks or checklists that you can go through. But I just want to paint the picture, the holistic vision, to get the juices flowing, to get the gears turning for what this gets to look like for you. So think about your natural gifts. Are you naturally entertaining and authentic? Are you naturally a wise and visionary teacher? Are you naturally a courageous trailblazer? Like, who are you as a creative? And what are the gifts? What is the value that you get to share with your community of people? And now let's dive into the second milestone, which is monetizing your online business through Patreon, through exclusive memberships. And if you are totally unfamiliar, you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say Patreon, when I say online memberships, let me spell it all out for you so it's very clear, it's very black and white. Patreon is a website which allows creators of all kinds to charge monthly fees in order for people to participate in their community or gain access to additional content or exclusive benefits that they're offering to those followers, those fans, that community behind the paywall. So this is the basis of an online membership. You pay monthly dues to be part of the membership, just like a gym membership or a golf course membership or any other kind of subscription membership like that. But you're paying to be part of a creator's community. Now, you might ask, why would I do that? Or why would somebody want to pay to be part of my community? And the answer is because of the value that they gain from your free signature content. This is something that I learned and totally blew me away when I was first starting out doing the YouTube channel, doing the Patreon membership. People would join the membership, pledge money every month just so that we would continue putting out the free content that was adding value to their lives. People were getting so much value from what we were already doing that they didn't actually want any of the other exclusive benefits that we were offering. They simply wanted us to continue doing what we were already doing, because that's kind of the struggle as you're starting out. It can be difficult to find the time, the energy, and the resources to feed yourself, to pay your bills while working another job and be doing something that's equivalent to another job for free in the beginning on top of all of that. So the people that get value from your content, the people that really deeply resonate with your message will want to binge all of your free content. They won't be able to get enough. They'll want you to keep doing it, and they're happy to pay money every single month so that you can continue doing it. There will be other people who are interested in additional benefits like early access to your signature content or extended cuts of that signature content. They're the kind of people that, they've binged all your free stuff and they're waiting. They've got 6 days to wait if you're posting weekly before you put something else out. So they're like, I want more. Give me more. I'm happy to pay. So they'll jump into that paid community to get access to behind the scenes content, extended cuts, early release so they can get to it sooner. They might want access to you as the creator. You can offer things like live streams where it's an entirely different format. So when you go live, it's real. It's off the cuff. It's like having a conversation because it's not edited. It's your exact thoughts and feelings coming through in the moment. And your fans, your community is going to absolutely cherish that kind of connection that they get to have with you. You can also do Zoom calls where you meet up once a month and have conversations together. You can structure those Zoom calls however you like, but these are just a couple different examples of what you can offer to your exclusive online membership. So think of it this way. Businesses exist because they add value to the lives of other people. People will always pay for what they value. And for a lot of us who want to be shown that our out-of-the-box thinking, our black sheep way of going about things, like we don't want to feel quite so alone in this human experience. It's the same for your audience. It's the same for my audience. Just being able to connect with another human being who gets it, who has some inkling of what it's like to exist in a world that's really not set up for you. That alone is so worthwhile. It's something I'm willing to pay money for. I invest in coaching constantly with mentors who normalize the fact that no, you're not meant to work a traditional 9-to-5 and poke money into the 401k. You're built to do things different. And that's not bad or wrong. It's important. It's important that you commit to your gifts and to your calling, because what you have to offer is something that likely the world's never seen before. And all innovations are questioned at first until they prove themselves. And that's where the commitment and the consistency comes in, because not many people will want to be part of something that isn't a sure bet, that isn't already proven. But when you have the discipline to commit to yourself and commit to your business before anybody is willing to pay you or put money on the line, that is what builds the confidence and the trust in other people that you are the real deal and that your innovation is worthwhile. So where was I? We're building out an exclusive online community with people all across the world who would be our best friends in real life if we got to meet them in person, but we're separated by thousands of miles, potentially even oceans. So this online community is incredible because it allows people from all walks of life to come together under a shared value system and to be brought together by you, because you are the trailblazer who is actually doing it, who's actually committed to living a creative life no matter what. And it's such a beautiful thing to have those relationships, to have that camaraderie, and to know that nobody is in this alone. And there are other people who have gone and done what we want to do, and we can learn from them and we can partner with them, and they can help us get to where we want to be even faster. That's the beauty. A lot of times in a coaching situation, what you're paying for is time. You're spending money to learn from someone who put in years to gain the knowledge and the wisdom that they now have, that they're willing to offer to you for a price because it's valuable, so that you can skip those years and integrate all of that wisdom in a matter of months to get to where you want to be. It's priceless. It's priceless to collapse timelines and make things happen faster so that you can avoid a lot of the frustration and doubts that creep up along the way. So that's an example of what there is to gain from being part of an online membership. But like I said, you do get to structure yours any way that you want to. There are countless different benefits that you can offer. And if you've never heard of Patreon before, I invite you to hop on there to check it out. You can look at my Patreon for some inspiration, for some ideas about how you can structure it. Look at other creators as well. Look to see if any of the creators you currently follow and enjoy consuming content from have Patreons. And if they do, look to see how they structure it. Because a lot of what you already admire and are getting value from is going to inform your unique way of going about it. And you can cherry pick from all of the different people whose content you enjoy and appreciate to come up with your own unique, special version of it all. That's really a beautiful thing. So check out Patreon, learn more about that. Let me just say that I recommend starting with Patreon because it's already built out. It's already done for you. You simply need to populate it with your branding, with your content. But as you do evolve in this journey, I do think there's tremendous value in building out your own personal website, your own personal online membership to offer, so that you're not restricted by the ever-changing rules of an organization like Patreon. You can house the community in your own space where you don't have to worry about changes being made. You don't have to pay as much money to them for offering the service of hosting the site. So just some things to think about, but definitely starting out, it's absolutely worth it to go with the Patreon done for you model, and then think about building out your own version of the same thing later on. So that wraps up milestone number 2 in the creative entrepreneurship journey. Let's talk about milestone number 3, which is really becoming a master of marketing and communicating and sharing your story. So when I brought up the analogy of the funnel, the marketing was going to be the widest part of the funnel, where you're shouting from the rooftops like Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok to a mass of people. You're encouraging them to check out your signature content that's available for free on a platform like YouTube. And then from YouTube, you're encouraging people to join your exclusive community on Patreon. So we're kind of starting in the middle, getting to the end, and now we're going back to the beginning of what the person who is being introduced to your world and to your content will experience, because you really want to get the middle and the end set up first so that you have somewhere to tell people to go, or you really get clear on what it is that you're here to do and tell people about before you start sharing your message and shouting from the rooftops. Just want to clarify all that so it makes sense. But once you do have the signature content on lock, you're posting consistently, it's valuable, it's resonating, and you have that exclusive community set up, then you get to hone in on your marketing and really sharing your story in a way that other people can relate and apply to their own lives. Now, what does that mean? Sharing your story in a way that other people can relate and apply to their own lives. It means speaking from the perspective of how can I help someone to understand where I'm coming from and encourage them to see how this story applies to their own experience. That means that you're giving examples as you share your stories. That means that as you're teaching or as you're entertaining, you're infusing your own experiences and stories into all of the content that you're sharing. Because really the goal of your marketing content is to enable people to know you, to then like you, to then be able to trust you and feel comfortable investing with you. So I have tons of marketing strategy and resources to share with you. Tons of different things that you can apply to your content. But basically, it's just going to come down to sharing your story as it unfolds, or as it unfolded in the past, to enable people to get to know you. One really signature piece of marketing content that I have on my Instagram profile is a My Story highlight. And this is something that I learned from one of my most influential mentors, is to break down your entire journey into a story highlight so people can really see where you've come from, what you've had to overcome along the way, and how you had those breakthroughs that contribute to the person who you are today. So this is what I would love to encourage you to dive into for your homework. This is something that I coach my clients on as well. So a little bit of a free piece of coaching advice for you today that's so impactful. And what we're going to go into in even greater detail in episode number 2 is diving into the archetypal hero's journey popularized by Joseph Campbell, and applying that to your own story and to your own life to really get the juice, get at the meat and potatoes of what you've been through and what really makes you you so you can identify what your gifts are and what you're here to share with the collective. But to start out, just to get warmed up, I invite you to grab a piece of paper and write down every year of your life. So I'm 29, I would write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on every different line, all of the years of my life. And next to every year, write a memory, or if you don't have a memory of that year, write a location, write about something that someone told you that happened. So, for example, the first year of my life, don't have any memories there, but I know that I was living in a house in Pine City, Washington. That was the first year of my life. Year 2, I know that when I was 2, we moved to St. John, Washington. Year 3, I have some memories from year 3. Year 3 was when I convinced my parents that I needed to change my name to Michael. So just go down every single year and write down some of the memories or locations or things that people have told you from every single year. Keep it very short. Not even full sentences are needed here. You have a single line to work with. You're just going to write down a little bullet point. And just get familiar with thinking about your story and where you've been and what you've been through so that you're warmed up and ready to go for episode number 2, which is really going to help you clarify your gifts and the value that you get to share with your followers and your community. And then in future episodes, we will get a lot deeper into the copywriting formulas that you can use to make your messaging that much more compelling. We'll go into the marketing strategy that you can use to make the most of your signature online content. The signature online content, your weekly piece of long form value-added content, is a beautiful way to create a bunch of different pieces of content. Like, for example, this podcast, I'm going to split it into 4 or 5 different highlight clips, and then I'll share those to promote the podcast. And that's the same kind of thing that you can do to promote your signature content. Just repurpose. Make it simple, make it easy. Apply copywriting formulas to enhance your messaging to reach people on another level. We have a lot more to talk about as far as copywriting goes and marketing goes and communicating effectively using visual hierarchy and creating compelling graphics. And there's so much fun stuff to dive into, but I really want to keep each episode actionable and to the point. So I know I've already given you a tremendous amount to think about here today. So there's your homework. If it sounds exciting and compelling or even scary, that's your sign that you get to dive in and go ahead and get familiar with your own story so that you're ready to go even deeper on episode number 2. Okay, so just to recap, today we talked about the 3 milestones that you will encounter on your road to full-time entrepreneurship and financial freedom as a creator. Those milestones are creating consistent, valuable content, monetizing through an exclusive online community like Patreon, and mastering marketing and storytelling to captivate and share your message in the most compelling way possible. Creating that funnel, baby, that brings the right people into your world. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Creative Freedom Plan podcast. And if you loved it so much you'd like to shout from the rooftops and share it on social media, be sure to screenshot, tag me at Michael Emily Schuster, and share it to your story so I can stalk your profile and we can connect over there. Much love to you, and I will see you in the next episode.